Hello, friends. Welcome to Akul Mac Live. And 2021 has been largely known as year of the Great Resignation, and what it means. Where the society is going. To discuss this matter, I am joined by a very senior, eminent speaker from Singapore. His name is Kevin Cotton. Let's welcome him.
Hello there, Chandra, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Kevin. You look fabulous and you look great. In fact, we are in the middle of winter. Sometimes, winter is also hot in India, but this time it's really cold. And I envy you wearing a t shirt sitting in your drawing room.
Well, I can see the fire behind you. And sometimes when I live in Canada, we put on that beautiful TV and we put on the fire burning, as a fireplace. And that's always quite wonderful to see. It sort of heats up the room. Here, I'm actually very hot because it is hot here, just like it is in India most of the time. But yeah, no, it's good.
Well, there were a lot of resignations last year, Kevin. I hope you know. In fact, because of this resignation, there is a lot of dearth of jobs. Especially the corporates are feeling the heat in large economies like China, India, and US, and people are still resigning. What is your opinion? Why you think the people are resigning? I mean, some have already lost their jobs, but then there are so many who are resigning willingly. What do you think is the factor for this?
Oh, I think there's a variety of factors. And the first one that I would say is that a lot of times, and what we've heard and a lot of people say is that in actual fact, a lot of these were people that were wanting to resign before COVID, but just hung out during COVID. And now they see a release of moving forward is they're just now, okay, now it's time to go. But I think that a COVID in actual fact, and I was talking to a friend of mine at lunch today, was that it's really about so many people finding a different place in their life. What's important to them in their life? What are the purpose in their life? Why are they working so many hours for who? For somebody else or for yourself? Or what is my stake in the game, so to speak? Is it just for money or is it for friendship or what? So many different factors. I like to think of this in actual fact as a place where people have moved on is because of they're looking at what is the soul of the company. So this is something that's not really talked about. Sometimes we talk about the spirit or whichever, but it's the soul of the company. My belief is that a lot of people, companies are putting in a lot of different interventions. They're actually employing more, giving more money. They're actually spending more time in educating people, upskilling them. They're also giving them more time, some time off. They're allowing them to remote work and hybrid work now. And these are all great. And then they wonder, well, but why aren't they staying then? I believe that underneath it all is that we're not going deep enough. It's like a mouse trap, right? Is that we're like mice a lot of the time. And we see the trap, but there's a piece of cheese there. And we go for the cheese and we get trapped. We get trapped in that organization. We get trapped in the emotions of it. We get trapped into the culture of it. We get trapped into the direction that they're going, well, if we know what it is. And then what's happened here is the mouse is out of the trap a little bit, but then they put a different piece of cheese, one that's even more expensive, and that people fall for it. Or maybe they're not falling for it now. So the point is that people aren't falling for all of these pieces anymore, these additives, these extra money, or allowing the remote work or hybrid. They're wanting something deeper. They're wanting a purpose of why am I working at this organization? What is this organization about? What is the soul of this organization? How can I be involved and add value to this without just being a number? And people I believe, are also don't want to be in the debit line of the financial aspect of it. They want to be an asset. But if we think about the accountancy of an organization, all people that are employees are a deficit because they're having to pay out. When are we going to see the people that work for are an asset? It's not just simply, okay, we're going to have more digital transformation and more things. But no, this is something important. But I just think, why don't we look at it from an asset, that the individual is an asset? And I think these are parts of the pieces that why people are still leaving and are going to leave even more. I have friends that are saying, I'm so tired of this organization. I'm so tired of the way they treat me. I'm just an assembly line. That was back in, people were doing this in the Industrial Revolution. The performance was around how many widgets can I put? How many, how often can I hammer a nail? All of these things. It was really about performance, how much that you did. Why don't we look at it from the point of value? Value can bring more soul to the organization. It can bring more engagement. It also brings more fun, more joy. If you're going to spend all that time in an organization, whether you're being remote or hybrid, why not enjoy it? So people are leaving for that reason. And what I've read recently, in actual fact, is that CEOs are also leaving. Some of the reasons that they're leaving is because they don't know how to talk to the people that are below them. They don't know how. We've given them everything. We've given them upskilling. We've given them more courses. We've given them more time off. We've talked about their mental health. But what else do they want? It's not that. People want to be known as humans' assets. And we keep forgetting about that. And this is where the soul of the company comes in. Are there many companies that really have a soul? And where does that soul start from? It starts from the ownership. It comes from the leadership. It's not about the shareholder value and pleasing the shareholders. Because the individual that is working for, they don't see any of that. Generally speaking, they may give credits, they may give them stock options, they may give them all sorts of things, but you have to be at a certain level for most companies to be able to receive that, if you do. It's about humanity. It's about the soul. It's about the human asset, the human value. That's the crux of it. And people are leaving and they won't enter the force until they find something. And something is also connected to sustainability, climate change. They're looking for that. And they won't go to organizations that are not living up to it. So I think organizations have to realize that they need to put the sustainability aspect, not only sustainable, but believe in it and drive it and be the center point of their organization. Because that is bringing value. That is also the soul. That is not only the soul of the organization, but all of the stakeholders that all are everywhere. Who are we doing business with? Why are we doing business with them? Is it just for the bottom line? Growth, as I've seen and read about degrowth, that we don't want to keep growing because that's what's going to happen to the planet, and even more so, is that we can't keep growing. We need to degrowth and harvest what we've got and make it better and better and better. Anyway, I could talk on, I suppose, but anyway, I think that we need to look at the reasons, the deeper reasons. What they're looking at often are surface reasons. We're looking at, when you go to a doctor, they look at the symptoms. They never really look at the cause. They think they are looking at the cause, but they generally are looking at the symptoms and they think, oh, this is because in allopathic medicine, as you know, it's about pills. It's about how many pills can I give to this person to be able to get them out of my office and they'll be fine. And now I found very cynical about this, but you know what? There's a bigger piece about this, and that is the person. It's about spending time. And people say there's no spending time. I go to the doctor here, for example, in Singapore, to the clinic. And I sat with one doctor one time and I said, and he said, I'm probably taking too much of your time. He says, you are, but I think it's important that I spend the time with you. He says, we're not paid for this. We're paid for how many people we put through as fast as we can. And he says, but I believe there's something we need to talk about. I was very grateful. But how many people, how many doctors will do that? And that's what happens in an organization. They don't spend the time. They're looking at the cause, they're looking at the problem and this, the symptom. So that's why I think that a lot of people are leaving. What do you think? Did I say anything sensible?
Well, I fully agree with you. In fact, I concur every word that you have said today, verbatim. And let me offer my 2 cents on this. See, I think 2020,
Please.
2021 was a year where people realized the value of life, because people who survived, I mean, a lot of people lost their lives, but people who survived, they really think that their life is going wasted. And in fact, you mentioned example of rat. So my take on this is the rat race. I'm taking it forward from there. They are feeling that, hey, my life is totally got completely wasted in chasing some revenue targets or chasing my salary figure. So willingly they are saying, okay, this is the end. I value my life. I've lost my friends, families, loved ones, and I have survived. So I am a survivor. I have survived because of certain reasons, and that is why I want to utilize my life from this point onwards. What I could not achieve 20 years back because I had some pressures, family pressures, I had to start my career, and I got into red race. I no longer want to be part of that. I want to practice maybe guitar. I want to train youngsters. I want to travel to somewhere in Kashmir or Switzerland or somewhere down south in Langkawi. So everyone has their own way of expressing themselves, of living. Because I have survived, I value my time on earth more than what I was feeling 2 years back. So that is why I don't want to waste time chasing some numbers. I don't want to work for somebody. And willingly, you mentioned that CEOs have resigned. A lot of them, in fact, there is a gap of 40% workforce in the old scheme of things. So because of this dearth of manpower, the gig economy is really going to shape up now, in my opinion. You mentioned about the soul of the organization. I don't think the organization can function anymore. They have to reinvent, recalibrate. I think when the workforce is doing 3 things in a day, they don't want to work full time for you. They want to practice 3 hours guitar. In 2 hours, they want to do something like painting, and probably they are available for the job only for 3 hours. So organizations will have to become more like a project management companies rather than production companies. So I think they have to change over into a project management where they recognize the fact that the workforce will not be available for them. They will be available only as a gig. And that is where this industry change, which is industry 4.0, is coming, in my opinion. And sooner the organization realize this change, better it would be for industry. This is what I have to say, Kevin.
I think you're spot on. I mean, really, as you said. And so I think you're absolutely right. I mean, the gig economy will, because people will take much interest in what they do. That's why they do it. And then they'll be much faster, much more energetic. They'll perform better. But if you just purchase that gig, all right, and that's usually what happens. I mean, you look at Fiverr, you look at a variety, Elance, all of these different online places where they have a variety of individuals who do a variety of different types of gigs, and they're fast, generally speaking, and often really talented people. So I think it's, people are setting their own entrepreneurial shop up. I mean, India, as you know, is the land of entrepreneurs. I mean, you started as entrepreneurs. Everybody, somebody on the street, you're an entrepreneur. And I think that is where we've lost this, is that in organizations, they haven't accepted and taken people on as their own entrepreneurs. And if you think that's too diverse, they're not following the line, they're not following what we're doing. It is important to understand that the alignment comes from these entrepreneurs within an organization. And of course, many organizations are thinking now that you need to be entrepreneurial, but they also need to get rid of the boundaries. right? The boundaries of entry into an organization, the boundaries of entry when you're in the organization. And one of the things that I found when I was in terms of my coaching, for example, is that the managers and the leaders are saying, oh, my teams are asking me to really venture out into the other departments so that we can collaborate, because they get a great inspiration not only from the circular knowledge, but they also feel that some sort of, in some ways, competitiveness, but they show that they're worth, instead of being siloed and kept silent. And so the managers, they've said, I have to now start spending time networking much more so that it increases the value of my department, and also the individuals that are spending the time in that, in the department. It's very important that this is inspired. You're right. And people don't want to work crazily anymore. I mean, what's the point? We do for a while when we're younger. A lot of the time we go crazy and think, yes, that's the thing. But, the world is different today. And COVID was a wake up in that particular round, just as you said. I do think, though, that was a very important piece here in the future of work and also organizations is really, truly the honesty about what are they doing to save not only this planet, but the individuals on the planet. Because it's not the planet. The planet is going to survive whether we're here or not, right? And it's going to manifest, it's going to evolve. And if you can't live on it, you become a dinosaur. It's the same within organizations. If you can't evolve, you're going to become a dinosaur. And this is all interrelated, interconnected. The human being loves to decouple themselves from the reality of everything being interconnected. I separate all of my processes. I separate my individuals. I separate this team from this team. I separate this department from this department. I separate the interconnection of a digital information. It's not possible. We have to be able to keep it coupled and understand the magnitude of that and the simplicity of what that can be, not the complexity. So I think that people are actually wanting a simpler life. They're tired of the complexity. What do you think?
Absolutely. Traveling overseas is no longer required because we can be anywhere, any time during the day by using this mechanism that we have today, like we are connected with each other. What is needed now is the augmented reality, which will bring the certain elements in our two-way conversation of reality. I think that is where the world is moving. Lot of technology companies are evolving these solutions for schools, for offices. The Facebook has changed their name from Facebook to Metaverse. They want to create a parallel universe maybe on the internet. So I think this is where the world is going, where traveling for business will be thing of the past. I mean, we used to say that, hey, if you don't meet a person face to face, there is no way you can close a deal. But now I think that facility is available. You can meet 100 people every day, if you want, if you have time, if you have bandwidth. All you have to do is basically reorient your mind to see what you want to do on a daily basis. What is that you are achieving? Because technology is on your side, it is actually going to favor gig economy. The large corporations with real estate, brick and mortar, acres of buildings will going to disappear sooner or later. If not this year, definitely next year. Because what are you going to do with this real estate? Nothing. You don't. And especially, I will talk about India. One of the key factors that Indian corporates use is that, hey, give me work because I've got so many millions of workers working for me, or these are all English speaking, highly skilled, all that, So I am sure Indian corporates will face this problem of filling their roles because they see the pyramid eroding from the bottom. They can still go out to US and UK and other countries, ask for jobs, but how they are going to deliver it. And that is why the organizations need to play a big role in recognizing the industry where it stands today, also fulfill the desires of people, because earlier when they used to hire people, they used to talk about a bell curve. They will say that, hey, I will give you the best salary, I will give you the best place to sit, I will give you HR person who will look into your grievances, I will also handle your personal grievance that you have. All that is gone. There is no way you can attract people by giving all these freebies. So I think it's a journey that organizations will have to undertake, Kevin.
Yeah, they're offering a lot of cheese and different types of cheese, but they're not grappling and not taking the cheese. They're going vegan instead. So it's think about that. And also I agree with you very much. So I mean, I think the augmented reality is important in the AI and all of this. It's extremely important, but I don't know exactly how it's going to shift the closeness of the touch and being able to be in the same space. I'm sure that eventually it's going to feel that way, absolutely. But in the early manifestations, it's going to take a bit of time for us to feel that. And just also we need to remember is that the future of work is about mobility. It is not about being stationary. It is about being mobile in your thoughts, mobile in your actions, mobile in your from organization to organization, from location to location. It is about mobility. The youth are the ones which are the largest group under 30. I mean, especially like from India to the east here into Asia, there's over, what is it? I think it's over. Under 30, there's over 600 million people. I mean, that's massive. And the same in Africa, under 25, there is like 3/4 of the population of Africa, or no, not 3/4, but it's about 60% of the population is under 25. Now, those people want mobility. Those people want possibilities. Those people want all of this. And we're going to see a massive migration. So whether it's organizations or governments, the borders have to be porous, not hold on, hold on, hold on. Don't let them in. Don't let those people in. What people? The people that want to find a new job, another position. It's not only economic migration, it's climate migration as well. So all of this, I think, comes into this piece of understanding why are people leaving and don't want to put up with the stuff. So for example, when you talked about money and the cheese at the end of the tunnel, a friend of mine, he's a semiconductor energy engineer. Anyway, he said, I'm so sick and tired of this company. I'm working so hard and I work so many hours and it's just like and I just hate it. I hate it. And he says, I want to quit. I said, well, why aren't you quitting then? He says, oh, I don't know. What? I said, what am I going to do? And I said, what do you really want to do? And he says, I want to change my career. I want to go into healthcare. I said, I want to help people. I want to be. I said, wow, that's beautiful. And so anyway, he said, and so he decided, okay, I quit. I'm going to quit. And then, of course, it was like everybody in the company was saying to him, other people, oh, no, why are you quitting now? You won't get your bonus. Oh, you won't get your bonus. Oh, you won't get your bonus. He said, I don't care about the bonus. I care about my life. And so I found that was so interesting. And so we went back and forth and back and forth. Anyway, he's quitting at the end of this month, just before Chinese New Year, but he won't get his bonus because he'll be a couple of days short of it. But he's doing it for a point at the same time, not only for himself, but to the company. This company kept on saying, stay with us, we can't find anybody else. But they weren't offering him anything else either. And he said, whatever you offer, it's not going to keep me here. He says, because I can't stand it, I want a change of life. Get it? Anyway, but it's very interesting, this whole realm, and I think that it is about people, as we come back to the very beginning, is people want a life. They want to live in this world at whatever age they are, and to be able to live their purpose, to enjoy what they do, and not be slaves. We're all modern day slaves in many ways. I'm very grateful that I've always been independent. And I could never work for an organization, I don't think. But anyway, and I'm very grateful that I've chosen that way. It may not have been the same as many people, with lots of pensions, whatever, but I've been happy. And I've discovered an awful lot of my life. I've lived on 4 continents and 15 large cities. I would never got that doing what I do. Even the people that stayed in the profession of figure skating like me, they just stayed and done that. I believed that there was always a greater world out there. And I always believed that there was a greater need that I can offer in my life to this world. And I think that's really the important thing. And as we move forward, that we must move forward from our purpose and move forward to what we want to do and see the opportunities and not stay forever at a place, because that's doing the same old, same old, same old. You need variation, environment, location, physical, people that you work with, right? It's about education at the same time. So yeah, well, we could talk forever about this, but anyway, I think it's come to the end, right? So
Absolutely. In fact, Kevin, I think your words are very valuable. In fact, your perspective is bang on. And you also mentioned one word about making the borders porous. And we have a similar subject discussion in our business bunker tomorrow. And hopefully, you will be able to join and give your comments on that. And this is regarding the payments. So how do we dissolve these borders and not have regulations with regard to gig economy, especially for the SME business, so that they can make the payment? So that show is coming up tomorrow, and you're most welcome to join. But today's session was very enjoyable. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure the viewers will also like it. Just in case, if there are people who want to take advice from Kevin, they can reach out to us. The email will be displayed at the end of this video. And today we would like to say goodbye, Kevin, only to catch you next week, same time.
thank you.
Bye bye, Kevin, and see you, viewers. This was regarding the great resignation, and it is still going on. I'm sure there are people who would need some help. They can reach out to us, and we will make the connection happen between you and Kevin. With this, I will end the show today, only to catch you in the next one.